Hi, good evening, everybody. My name's Karina, and I am part of the IBC Planning Committee. I'm here to introduce our two guest speakers today, Mark Ferguson, who is the Deputy District Director for the Illinois District Office of the U.S. Small Business Administration. And we also have I apologize. Perrin Wetzel, who is the president of PG Wetzel and Associates. Thank you.
All right, everyone. My name is Mark Ferguson, and I just need to correct a couple of things. I am the retired Deputy District Director for the United States Small Business Administration. That was effective as of December 31st. How many of you know this president we got is called Donald Trump? I was one of the folks that took the deferred resignation program where your tax dollars were put in good work and you paid me $200,000, my salary from May all the way until December 31st, not to do anything. So I took it. Now I've been officially retired. Now, why do I bring that up? I bring that up to you because I've always, the majority of my career has been that of a W-2 employee. W-2 employee is somebody that works for somebody. What we're going to do today is I was asked to talk about leadership, some alternate ways of doing business. After 45 years of lending, don't let all this fool you. I'm 68 years old, okay? I think I'm looking pretty good and doing pretty good at 68. But with that comes a lot of knowledge. So I've heard the panels previous to panels. I guess it was the alumni panel and the Women's History Month panel. I thought those were great panels. They indeed had a lot of good stuff to tell you folks. Good textbook stuff. You know what I mean? But what I'm here to do is just try to pierce some of the things that you may have been learning in school. I too have been a college professor and adjunct since I was 29 years old. So I'm very familiar with being in a classroom, that kind of thing, and teaching business. With that being said, I don't have everything put up on the board. Unfortunately, we're going to reverse engineer some things. In May of last year, 2025, I officially left the United States Small Business Administration after 35 years. Prior to that, I was a banking VP, and I was also a mortgage banker. I traded securities. I owned my own mortgage banking company back in the 80s. I was one of three minority-owned managed companies during that time in Illinois. I tell people now, they say, "What are you doing now, Mark?" I said, "I'm trying to get my swag back, because working for the government, I know what you guys think. No, they're good civil servants. They're good people. They work hard. They've got degrees. They've gone through the ropes and everything to learn how to do their job most effective way. But we still have, issues. Nonetheless, as I sat there in my retirement in the middle of May, I said, gee, there's so much Lucy and so many game shows you can look at and that sort of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what I did, and I'm going to tell you why I did it and how I did it. And I think that incorporating those principles along with leadership, you'll be able to appreciate that, because along with, I'll be frankly more honest than ever, along with starting that new business, I also run a $2 million not-for-profit called New Covenant Community Development Corps on the west side of Chicago in North Lawndale. And I've been doing that for 14 years, and I'm also a minister at a megachurch. So with that being said, let me tell you about my story about how I got into business. How many of you want to get into business? How many of you are already in business? I saw hands go up real high, and then I saw hands kind of like like you got an impediment or something. What's going on here? I need. How many of you are in business now? Your own business. Well, okay. Shaq, let me ask you this: whose business were you gonna be in? Shaquille O'Neal's business or what? Yeah, your business, man. Your business. How many of you are in your own business? Okay. How many of you are sole proprietors? How many of you are corporations? How many of you are C corps? How many of you are LLCs? Good job. Okay. All right, let me tell you what's going on with me. When I got bored, I said, I'm going to do something. So, what I decided to do was I thought I'd take my 45 years of lending experience and put it to good work. What I did was I ran out and I put together a business plan. Plan, PLAN, predetermine your course of action, lay out your goals and objectives, adjust your priorities, notify key personnel. And if you plan ahead, okay, acknowledge that people got the message, head in action, expect delays, acknowledge the good things, and do a daily review. Plan ahead. I put a plan together. What I did was I bought $250,000 worth of brand new cars with no money down. And I did that for one purpose. I was going to go ahead and rent it to Uber drivers and other couriers who wanted to be in business for themselves to make their 20, 25, 30, the minimum wage or more on their own terms. And I provided that for them. Now, how did I do that? I did that with a couple of principles. Leadership principles. How many of you are familiar with Maxwell's 21 irrefutable laws of leadership? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you are familiar with 21 character qualities of a leader by Maxwell? Raise your hand. Okay. All right. How many of you have read Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? Raise your hand. All right, we got a few of you. Okay. Well, that's where I'm basing this council here is going to be on leadership. And how did I do all of this? Well, number one, I was able to plan things out. Now, a lot of things that I heard previously with the other folks that were up here, you asked them about leadership, right? Well, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. You have to be able to influence people. One of the things that I like to talk about with influencing people, now, if you have because I don't have it up and you can't follow along with me, if you're smart, like I know all of you are, with your smartphones, like all of you have, maybe you'll Google 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by Maxwell, and you can kind of follow along. But the law of influence measures your influence on other people, nothing more, nothing less. Now, what's great about that is that it is going to highlight your character, your relationships, your knowledge, your intuition, experience, and your ability that you can do things for other folks. In other words, people are going to follow you because they know you can get the job done. You have the character, you had a competency level, and a commitment. The one way that you know that you are a leader that's influencing people is that when you say you're a leader, if I see Rodney says, Mark, I'm a leader, then I'm going to say, you are, Rodney? Well, I saw you walking the other day and nobody was following you. What happened? I don't know. Well, you're not leading. So leadership is based on influence, nothing more, nothing less. How many of you are familiar? Well, let me ask you this. How many of you are actually frightened about going into business for yourself? Right? Be honest. I know the majority of you are, because I know I was when I was a young man, okay? Be honest, okay? With that being said, what you need to do is overcome that. You know, many of you, when you feel uncomfortable, you're learning something new. Would you not agree? Because if you're comfortable, you're not going to move. And what is fear? Fear is nothing but, follow me, acronym, false evidence appearing real, soliciting the feelings, emotions, attitudes, and reaction of that of a coward, which none of you are. If you have the audacity to come to this program to learn how to come into business, tells me that you already have the character, the fiber, the intestinal fortitude to become a leader, to run your own business. And that's what's going to happen because I think one of the panelists had said earlier today, and I think it may have been, I think it was even Jason. He said, if you're going to make your bones on somebody else's dollar before you go into business for yourself. So if you think you're going to go in business for yourself and you're going to go in business for yourself for a specific reason and with a vocation in mind, get your practice done on somebody else's dollar and dime, because when you're on business for yourself, not only are you going to work harder than you ever worked before, but now you got to pay attention to the pennies, okay? With that being said, you got to pay attention to those pennies. So let's get back to my story about renting my cars. What I had to do, I had to go and look at, were we able to put up at least the one-page business? If not, don't worry about it. All of these forms, I want you folks to take note of 4 things that should have been displayed that aren't, but you can get them if you go ahead and email these folks. They'll get them out to you. It's the one-page business plan. It's 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, 21 indispensable qualities of a leader, and the tax matrix, the difference between a W-2 employee and an EIN employee. Remember in the beginning I asked how everybody that was in business, how you were organized? Some of you, 1 or 2 of you were LLCs. Nobody was a corporation. A couple of you were sole proprietors. That's very important. So when you go into business, when you follow this plan, let me just go through this with you real quick. When you follow the plan, some of the things that I had to do, and this is something that all of you can do, okay? To get this is like an outline. You know, before people say, oh gosh, you got to take this class and you do a business plan. And believe you me, 45 years of doing loans, I've seen them come in like this. I've seen them come in like that. What it is, you have to meet people where they are, not where you think they should be. So a lot of times, most loan officers like myself, we look directly at your numbers and your financials. But as you can see, I looked at the company, the industry. SWOT analysis is basically strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and lists down the threats. But if you do the SWOT toes analysis and just reverse it, you'll be able to get a cross matrix where threats become strengths, where strengths can turn into weaknesses. So you'll get all the possibilities of what can happen to you. When you look at products and services, the biggest one there is value proposition. Remember someone had asked over here, I think in the alumni session, how do I add value? Well, if uniqueness is what you seek, I think you've reached your peak. Look at me, okay? What I'm saying is that how do you add value? You see this model here? It says VPMF, value. What value do you bring to the customer's life? Are you solving a problem? How many of you solve problems every day? How many of you get paid for solving problems every day? And do you get that from an employer, or do you do that for your family, or do you do it on the QT? How many of you do it on the QT, on your own, just for family and friends? Do you charge them? Okay, because if you are solving people's problems, guess what? You're in business. You're in business. You just didn't know it, okay? Money-making capability. People always tell me, Mark, you always look at something and you always try to monetize it. My answer to them is, why not? I don't know why I wouldn't. And does it fit well? Naturally, a lot of you who may have started off taking basic business classes, you got an elevator pitch. You know, do you make your pitch? What is your benefit? How do you convince somebody to buy your product before you come from the 100th floor down to the ground floor? Okay? Demographics. When I looked at my business, I was looking at B2B to really B2B, because when I was doing business with independent drivers, they were contractors of mine. So I'm actually renting for $450 a week a brand new car to the driver, and he make as much money as he wants. I take care of all the expenses for him. That's $1,800 a month. I got 7 cars. I make $12,600 per month. Multiply that by 12, that's well over 160 grand a year. Of that 160 grand a year, I clear $4.5 thousand per month. Why do I say that? Because my cars, which you learn in your class, you can depreciate. That's a non-dollar expense. Wipes away my AGI, my adjusted gross income. So it's like if I'm making $4,000 a month, multiply it by 12. That's what I would be making as a W-2 employee. Now, I did that in a month. I'm not going to say you guys are going to do it in a month, but is it possible? Yes. How is it possible? I'm going to tell you what I tell folks at the church when I'm in my other vocation is contemplation and preparation without application brings no jubilation. You see, all of you are going to be bound for failure because you fear to do that next step. You fear to do what unsuccessful people hate to do, and that's put the extra on the ordinary to become extraordinary. All right? Now, it's kind of odd for me, or kind of tough for me to do the rest of the presentation, but if we can go to the next page of the business plan. You know, I looked at my inventory, I told you my costs. I have 1 employee. My employee is my general manager. As you notice, I got 2 fake hips. I don't walk too good. I can't run and get cars and stuff like that. So I got a young man that I'm teaching and I'm mentoring in the business. One of the things that's my management team. The other thing I want to talk to you guys about is financial projections. You notice I knew how much money I made. I knew how much money I spent. I know where my break even is. So it's $7.5 thousand per year or per month. Anything I make above and beyond 7.5 or $7,500, anything beyond that goes right here, goes in my pocket. That's mine. And I like that. That can be you folks, but you can't fear. You can't be stuck on analysis paralysis. Fear is an emotion that's going to keep you paralyzed. So don't fear, just do it. I know some of you ask, well, what do I need to do to get things started? Just do it. Just do it. It's not that hard. What are some of the, strategic planning? Yes, what, who, what, when, where, why? Who, what, when, where, why? One of the things I want to tell you guys is that don't be afraid to do your critical thinking. Our attorney, Jason, could tell you, because like I said, I got out of grad school back in 1980, and I always learned how to break things down. Yeah, you hot too? I'm hot too. Yeah. Break things down. What is it? Why is it? How did it come about? How does it apply? And show which facts support your position. Got it? What is it? Why is it? How does it apply? Show me which fact, how did it come about, and how does it apply? Show me which facts support your position. How many of you are little smart asses like I was? Pretty good in math. Raise your hand. Be honest. And how many of you went away ready to slap the taste buds out of your teacher's mouth when she gave you 50% credit because when you did your multiplication tables, you just wrote down the answer? And she gave you this big fat F. Seriously, right? I know some of y'all laughing because you know what I'm talking about. That's why you're laughing. You got this big fat F and you're like, is this chick crazy or something? And then what does she say? You have to show your work, right? You got to prove it out. What is it? Why is it? How did it come about? How does it apply? Show me which facts support your position that you can do exactly what you say you can do. So if you do those things, you can accomplish these things. So if you're going to get into business for yourself, follow that. Do not be afraid. Do not be fearful because of your desire to not ask the question. Well, Mark said there were 4 handouts. Get those handouts. You will find that those handouts are going to be very, very big for you. I'm sure Rodney will send the links to you. And go through the 21 laws of irrefutable leadership. One of the things too, you say, well, how did you get the money? Well, I went to 2 dealerships the very same day, and I had gone ahead and I'd influenced the folks that I needed to influence by my relationships with them and told them what I wanted to do, and they agreed to help me. So I got 7 different loans for 7 brand new cars that are now in my name that I need to get out of my name into my corporation because the deal came up so fast and I got the yes immediately that I had to act. So I'm in the process of putting them in my sub-S corporation that will go into my LLC to do what? To no longer be a W-2 employee. There's a tax graph that they'll send to you, and it will explain to you as a W-2 employee, you get your $100,000, Uncle Sam takes your 33% immediately, and then he leaves you like with 50% to do what you want as you may. Then you might put 10% away, and then you might have 7% discretionary. When you were set up correctly in business, guess what? You make your $100,000. Uncle Sam can't blink an eye because you haven't done anything yet, okay? Because you are a EIN, you are a corporation or LLC. What happens? You go ahead and you pay yourself, you pay your payments, do what you need to do. Then you'll get something called an adjusted gross income. Now coming to like 40 or 30%, that's when Uncle Sam will take his 33 or 30% off that 40%. The realization is that you have now reduced your tax rate effectively from like 33% to about 8%. Haven't you ever noticed why the rich keep getting richer? Why is it that these billionaires do not pay taxes? Because they got their corporation set up to do business correctly. Is there any reason why you guys can't set that up now? No. But there is one reason why you can't set it up now. You know what it is? It's between your ears. It's your brain, your desire to not fear and just do it. So some of the laws that I want you to take a look at is the law of process. You don't know what you don't know. Then you know that I need to know what I don't know. Then you know what it is you don't know. Then you know and go, and then the next thing you know, you flow. In other words, you're in the what we call the unconscious incompetent model. You're unconscious and incompetent, then you become conscious and incompetent, then you become conscious and competent, and then you become competent and unconscious because you get to do it over and over and over again. You don't even realize you're doing it, like when you brush your teeth at night or in the morning or whenever after every meal, right? It's unconscious. You're like, right? That's a learned behavior. Same thing. That's the law of the process. Number 3, one of the other laws I want you to pay attention to. All of these laws are great laws. But just listening to my story, if you listen closely to the story, you'll see how I use these leadership laws, such as the law of timing. How about the law of timing? One of the things, the reason why I was able to get those cars and the way it worked was the law of timing. People say, what do you mean by the law of timing? Well, wrong action at the wrong time leads to disaster. The right action at the wrong time brings resistance. Okay? You've got, why don't we, you got the wrong action at the right time. That's a big old mistake. The right action at the right time results in success. I had the right action at the right time and I executed. Okay? I remember law of priorities. Okay, one of the things that you need to learn to do that comes out of Franklin Covey and is also talked about in Maxwell's book is to prioritize your priorities. Do first things first. Don't waste your time on the stuff that's not going to be a benefit to you. You're in the infancy of getting your business started, then do so. All right? And before I turn it over to Perrin, who's going to take some questions and show you something that's going to help you get started with your business plans and your ideas, and he may go in the audience and tell you, I need you to talk to him and his agent, and she will give you some advice. I'm not going to take his thunder, although I think I did a little bit already, right, Perrin? But I'm sorry. The law of connection. Leaders touch your heart before they ask for a hand, okay? You got to remember to meet people where they are. You need to be able to go ahead and help people genuinely. You're never selling people, never selling. You're always leading them to a solution to their problem. Remember what I said? If you're solving problems for people and they pay you money, you're in business. Most of you said, but I'm a W-2 employee, so your boss is in business. The owner of the corporation is in business, but you're not. So these are some of the principles that I used, and I'll be frank with you. This is my accountant. He's my tax accountant. He'll tell you. I did this back on July 15th, 2025. You can do it too. Oh, Mark, you have 45 years, blah, blah. You went to law school and grad school and all that. Yeah. But that didn't give me the intestinal fortitude to actually do it. You know, most millionaires that we have today barely have a 6th grade education or a GED, but you guys are blessed to be coming here to this college and getting a leg up on everyone. Come on. What you need to determine for yourselves, are you coming to school to get your degrees to go work for somebody? Or are you coming here to go work for yourselves? I'm telling you, had the intestinal fortitude and the courage, which is also discussed in these leadership laws, that you want to be working for yourself. And take this knowledge that Mr. Vladdy Fernandez and the company are giving you guys. And use it, but use it for your own advantage. Don't use it for Uncle Sam like I did for 35 years. But remember, before that, I used it for myself for 10 years running my own mortgage company. So when I tell you I'm getting my swag back, yeah, I'm trying to get my swag back. So I'm just telling you, as the retired deputy district director and many, many moons of doing these kind of forums with folks, this is the real deal. A lot of people look at me like you're all looking at me in shock and awe and like, I can't believe he said that. Well, if the truth will set you free, then fly off, Freebird, and do your thing. Perrin, you want to take over?
Okay.
Dead silence. I got it warmed up for you, sir.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. What if influence was the most powerful superpower any human being could develop? What if every successful business in the world existed because someone learned how to master that superpower. And what is the difference between a great idea and a real business? The difference is simple. The difference is the ability to help other people believe in that idea that you have. That is influenced along with AI. Again, my name is Perrin Wetzel, and I'm a native Chicagoan, and I have been in business since I was 14 years old. Now, a quick fact about me. I once had a chess set that actually moved its pieces, and it talked to you. And you made a certain move, it would say, hey, only a salesman would make a dumb move like that. It was talking trash to you. But when you play chess, it's not about the moves or the pieces that you have. It's how far in advance that you think so that you move a step ahead of other individuals. Now, when I talk about AI and people talk about AI, there are three reactions. One is people over here. People over here say, yes, I enjoy AI, I'm all in. And then you have the people over here that says, oh, is AI gonna take my job? I'm worried about AI. And then there's all the people in the middle who are curious about AI. They wanna know more. They wanna know more about it because AI is a tool that helps individuals. It's not going to eliminate jobs. It's going to help you with your job so that you can be successful in your business in anything that you want to do. Now, let's look at. I didn't hear you. Oh, clicker. A clicker. Oh, okay. A clicker. So, we talk about funding, right? What is smart funding? You need to have your business look like a business, right? Because of the fact that if you want to go to a bank, they want to know all your information. You go anywhere, they want to know your business plan, what you've been doing, how your business is organized. Those are important. Then there is structure. When Mark talked about individual, what type of business you had, what structure you were in, most people said they were a sole proprietor or they didn't have a structure. Why is structure important? Because each type of income is taxed differently. If you have W-2 income, that is the highest tax income that you can possibly have. Because not only you pay federal taxes, you pay Social Security taxes, Medicare taxes, and state taxes. And typically those taxes add up to be 30 to 40% of all your money. Think about that. 40% of everything you earn goes to somebody else before you even get a chance to touch the money. As a business owner, you get to make all the money you want. And guess what? You get to deduct all your expenses, and you tell the government how much money they deserve, how much taxes they deserve. Which plan do you like? Do you like to have the government take 40% of your money, or would you like to tell the government how much money they're entitled to? That's the difference between a W-2 employee and a person who has a business, because they can control their income, and they tell the government how much money they are entitled to. Now, strategies, growing your business. How do you grow your business? You have all these different factors. Do I need to have my website made up? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? What is zone action? If you don't have any money, does your website make a difference? No. If you don't have any money, you don't have any sales, does a business plan make a difference? No. So you need to make sure that, yes, you need those things, but you need to be able to determine what is zone action for you and what is going to help your business grow today, not tomorrow, not the next day. And you need to be able to do that. So how can we do that more efficiently? Well, we have a tool for you. And if we have any volunteers here, I want a volunteer who would like to have a session with our AI agent. Our AI agent can help you with your business. Who would like to volunteer?
We got one.
Okay, we got the young lady.
All right, give her a hand. All right.
Let's see.
She got to come up.
You gotta come on up here. Let's see if I can get Athena to work.
I remember when I used to be able to do that.
Okay. So I have Athena.
8 years ago. You can get down with your bad self.
All right, let's see, can I get Athena to work here?
And what kind of business are you in, young lady?
I'm not in business. I work for the Uptown Chamber of Commerce
You do?
at the business center.
Athena is
Have I
not
met
want
you
to go.
before?
All
I was
right.
I was thinking, I was like,
Give me 1 second here.
but
I
I'm
know.
not quite sure at what event or anything I did do. But yeah.
Because I used to have so you folks know, as a former deputy director, before I retired, I had small business development centers all around. I had small business development centers all around and chambers that we worked with because we had to leverage our partnerships because I didn't have all the manpower. As you know, government's dwindling, budgets dwindle, people dwindled. So I had to rely on my partnerships, such as her Uptown Chamber of Commerce and other commerce and small business development centers. By the way, just shameless plug for the SBA too. You can go to their website and look up to see which small business development centers are around by you. I'm gonna
Okay.
shut up now. Let them go ahead.
Hello, Athena. This is Perrin Wetzel, and I have
Annika?
Annika. All right. Let's see if she will act right today. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Oh, hey, Perrin. And Annika, welcome. So good to hear from you again. I've been tracking your journey, and I remember monitoring your presentation earlier today.
Okay,
What's on your
Athena,
mind right now?
We're going to give a demonstration. I want Annika to ask you a couple questions about how she can start a business because she's interested in starting a new business.
Ooh, I love this. Okay, Annika, I'm all yours. What kind of business are you thinking about starting? Let's dive in.
I'm thinking of starting a record label company.
Wow.
And one of my questions for you is, what is my first step of walking into the bank? What should I have with me to show to the bank to ask for funds?
Okay. Give her a minute to digest.
Okay, so here's the thing. And I'm going to be real with you because that's what we do here. Walking into a bank as your first step is actually putting the cart way before the horse. Banks don't fund ideas or dreams. They fund proven revenue and assets they can secure against. So if you walk in tomorrow with just a concept, you're going to hear no before you finish your sentence. Your actual first step, you need to answer the money question differently. Before you ever think about a bank, you need to build what we call your shared experience platform. That's lever 0.5, meaning where are you bringing artists together, creating trust, building emotional rapport, and proving you can actually deliver value? Here's my question for you. Do you already have artists you're working with, or relationships in the music industry where people know you and would say yes to you?
Currently, yes. I do know people in the music industry.
Hey, you still with me? Take your time. Just want to make sure I didn't lose you there.
Yes, I do know people in the music industry that would be willing to work with me.
Okay, perfect. That's actually gold. And here's why. Those relationships are your real starting capital. Not the money from a bank, but the relationship capital you already have.
Wow.
That's what you build from. So instead of going to a bank first, your zone action is this. Identify which 2 or 3 of those music industry people have the most trust with you, and who also have something you need. Maybe one has artists. Maybe one has production capability. Maybe one has an audience or a platform. Then you propose what we call an ecosystem merger. You're not asking them for money. You're saying, I have this capability. You have that capability. Let's merge our ecosystems and create something neither of us could do alone. Now, here's my next question. Of the people you know in the music industry, who has the biggest asset that you don't have? Like, who's sitting on something valuable? Artists, audience, distribution, studio access, that they're not fully actualizing?
I would say the biggest thing would be, I know people with studios that I don't have, so I usually go somewhere else for a studio.
Ooh, okay, so you've got studio access through relationships. That's huge. That means you're not starting from zero. You're starting with infrastructure you can tap into. Now, let me ask you this. When you say you usually go somewhere else for a studio, are you paying them every time? Or do you have a relationship where they'd let you bring artists in and work something out that benefits both of you?
I do not need to pay.
Okay, now we're talking. That's real leverage right there. So you've got free studio access through relationship capital, and you know people who would work with you. Here's what that means. You don't need a bank yet. What you need is your first artist agreement and your first revenue. So before we even think about funding, let me ask you this. Do you have an artist right now, today, who's ready to record and who you believe could actually generate income if you help them get their music out into the world?
Yes, I would say yes.
Perfect. So here's your actual first step, and this is where the rubber meets the road. You need to sit down with that artist and create what we call an agreement formation. Not just a handshake, but a real conversation where you're both clear on what are we creating together, who owns what, how does the money split when it comes in, and what does each person contribute. Because here's the truth, a record label isn't a bank loan, it's a series of agreements with artists where you provide value they can't get on their own, and they provide talent you can monetize together. Now here's my question, and this one matters. When money starts coming in from this artist's music, streaming, sales, performances, whatever, what percentage do you think is fair for you to keep? And what would you offer them?
Okay, Athena, I'd like for you to talk to the audience and find out and give them advice. These are all grad students or students at Northeastern University. They all want to go into business. What advice would you give to them in order for them to make their first step?
Ooh, okay, so we're opening this up. I love it. All right, let me talk to everyone in the room. Here's what just happened with Annika that applies to every single one of you, no matter what business you're thinking about starting. The instinct is always, I need money first. Bank loan, investor, savings, whatever, and that instinct is backwards. Money doesn't create businesses. Agreements do. Relationships do. Value exchange does. What Annika just demonstrated is that she already has relationship capital, studio access, music industry connections, artists who'd work with her. That's more valuable than $10,000 in a bank account because money without relationships just sits there. Relationships without money can still create revenue. So here's my advice for your actual first step. And this applies whether you're starting a record label, a consulting firm, a tech company, whatever. Identify the one person who already knows you, trusts you, and has something you need, or needs something you have. Not a stranger, not a cold contact, someone where the really exists. Then ask yourself, what could we create together that neither of us can do alone? That's called ecosystem. It's how you start without needing a bank to say yes to you.
Yeah, the new one. My phone battery is dying. Of course, I was going to use my iPad, but it didn't seem to work.
We're sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to see if we can get
Technical
it,
problem.
keep it going. But that is Athena. And I just, take it from me. I used to run 41 small business development centers throughout Illinois with many, many counselors involved, okay? And when I heard Athena give that kind of advice, I was like, uh-oh, this AI is real. So many of you, I said I have one employee, right? Or not employee, a contractor. I 1099 him. But I have one person working with me. With that being said, if I have Athena working with me, I am really then a solopreneur, am I not? Right? How many of you are going to go into business, but you're going to start off working for, it's just going to be you in the business. You are the technician, the manager, and the owner. You're doing all three role functions, right? I know I do, except the hustle part, so I'm lucky to get a little break. Okay, go ahead, Perrin.
And with this technology that we have, it'll give you the opportunity to maximize your efficiency in your business so that instead of having a assistant what they call AI assistant somewhere. This technology actually grows with you. It understands who you are, and it gives its answers and all of the things towards you. To learn from you, it understands who you are, and you'll be able to exponentially grow your business. Is that something that everybody would be interested in, exponentially growing their business and giving you the structure, everything that you need in order to be successful in business? So what we're going to be doing is that we're going to first 5 individuals who scan the code here have an opportunity to set up an appointment. And what we're going to do is provide you with a blueprint of how to maximize and exponentially grow your business, even if you don't have a business right now. It'll give you step by step everything you need to do in order to have what we call zone action. Zone action is the most efficient action that you need to do in order to make sure that you reach your ultimate goal. And your zone action can change every day. If you don't have a job, zone action is different than if you have a job. If you have money, zone action is different if you don't have money. And people don't realize that your ability to do the most efficient thing and it provides yourself with that self-mastery. Self-mastery is the ability to go from hello to yes with yourself. And 80% of people do not know how to go from hello to yes with themselves in a way in which they can successfully be in business. So we want to make sure that you are those people who are in the 20% so that you can grow your business. Who in here wants to be in business and be successful in business? That's all. Nobody else wants to be in business, be successful? You want to be? Who wants to have a job all the time and have the government take 40% of your money?
Like
Do you want
like they
40%
did
of
to
your
me.
money to go away right away? I don't think so. Most people want to make sure that they have their own resources. If you are want to be in business any kind of way, this is the way to go. AI is here to help you. It's not going to take your job. Don't fear it. It's something like computers. When computers first came out, people were saying that they were going to lose their jobs. And guess what? There are more jobs now because computers created more jobs. Robots robots also create more jobs. They create different jobs. So instead of being a laborer, you can think, problem solving. You can solve a problem. That's how you become wealthy, by solving other people's problems. Because people will pay you by the magnitude of the problem that you know how to solve. You always want to make sure you do that. So if anybody have any questions about AI, I'm open for questions. And we want you to make sure that you use this technology, either here or somewhere in this university. This university says that they are involved in technology. And we want to make sure we expand on that technology. Does anybody have any questions about AI and how it can help you? Wait, we're going to get a mic for you.
You got to turn it on. All right now.
Hi, my name is Mohammed. I'm an accounting major here, and my question, I guess, is: do you think that investing in AI for your own business can increase your business's revenue year after year after you start your business? And if so, do you think that it can possibly create more jobs for your own business?
So it depends on what type of business you are in, okay? It will create more jobs for your business, or you can use an agent to not have to hire people. Because right now, when you're first starting off in business, most people don't have the resources in order to hire all the positions that they need, like somebody to do their advertising, their marketing, all those type of things. This AI that we have can make 10,000 calls an hour. And they go to hello to yes. If you have 10,000 calls an hour and you only get 1% of 10,000, it's 100 sales a day. So you can get 100 sales a day. Would that be beneficial to your business? Could you get 100 sales a day by yourself?
No.
Even with a sales team. So this agent is geared to be able to go from hello to yes in whatever product that you want it to be trained on. And it also has memory. which means that's one of the problems. If anybody been using AI, if you go on AI right now and you ask it to do something, you close it out and then you ask it the same question about what happened before. It doesn't remember anything. Everybody experienced that in AI? It doesn't remember anything from the previous conversation. Our AI remembers who you are and tailors all its answers and its interactions to you as a person because it acts as if it is a person, which is different from the other AI that you have. If you can see in the demonstration, what it did was it didn't just throw out generic answers. It gave her more detail and it continued to ask questions because of its question mastery. Question mastery is one of the most important things in life, your ability to ask the proper question, because powerful people ask powerful questions. A powerful agent, AI, asks powerful questions, and most AI does not ask the powerful question. It just spits out generic information based upon what you told it. And that's the difference between what we have and what you're going to find in Claude, ChatGPT. We have our own LLM, large language model. Anybody heard of that? The large language model is what all AI is built off of, where they put in all this information from all around the world and all this information and constantly add information. And it goes through that and sorts through that information. So we have our own model, and we are what we call HIPAA compliant, which means that we can use this in a lawyer's atmosphere. It can be used by doctors. So we can have our AI with the doctor when he's interviewing a patient, instead of what happened with a doctor. They sit down 15 minutes with you, right? Most of the time you go to the doctor, 15 minutes or less, right? And then they spend 2 hours going over the notes and writing all the notes, everything that happened in that 15 minutes. And that's what bogs a lot of doctors down. Our AI can not only take those notes for them, it can also do an analysis of what the doctor said and did in his practice, and thereby give better treatment to the patient than he could give to the patient by himself.
Can I give my testimony?
Yeah.
I got it.
Oh, yeah. Let me see if I can get my phone.
All right. Let me give you guys a testimony. One of the things that I did was I talked to Athena about my own business. And she said, well, Mark, you're acting like you Enterprise or you Hertz or somebody. You're not even close to that. You know what you are? And I'm like, no, tell me, Athena, tell me. And she told me that I was in the people development business and showing folks how to go into business by giving them a brand new spanking new car in the business plan and renting the vehicle from me and helping them understand business so they could do and graduate and get their own fleet of cars and go on and on and on. So I learned that, no, you aren't Mark Rent-A-Car. You're not like Hertz. You're not like Enterprise or Avis. You're in the people development skill business, revolving it around the rental car business. And I'm like, oh, just like McDonald's, they're not in the business of hustling burgers. They're really a real estate company, much like Walgreens was. Remember when Walgreens was on every major corner? They were a real estate company. I found that out, that I was not in the rental business. So what I do is that people come to me and they'll say, hey, I want to go into business. How fast you want to go into business? Well, I want to go now. Okay, well, tell me what you want to do. If you want to be a courier, talk to me. I'll go get you a car and we'll put you in business. But you're going to have to do your homework to make sure that this is something you want to do, because the kind of business that I'm in, it makes a little better than, minimum wage. Yeah, it makes more than minimum wage, but you got to do your hustle and you got to take care of everything that you learn here in the school, your income and your expenses and your deductions, and how are you organized? Are you a C Corp, hopefully, not getting taxed twice, okay? That kind of thing. So, yeah, so that's the real testimony when I talk to her, okay? Go ahead, Aaron, if you're ready for it.
Okay, I'm seeing if I can get a...
Are there any questions for me? I mean, I've been doing this for 45 years, so I'm not artificial intelligence, but I must say I'm ancestral intelligence or ancestral intuition, and I'm here to answer, those dirty little questions that nobody ever wants to tell you the truth about. I'm retired. I don't care.
You go
I have a lady up
first and
here in
then
the
you in the
first
back.
row, and then we'll get you, sir. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Not.
Put it
Go
to-
ahead.
put it to your
it
mouth.
closer, or
Okay. So my question for you is, I believe you mentioned earlier there's leadership laws.
leadership. Yeah, what about leadership?
Will we have access to those?
Yes, you have Mr. Rodney. Rodney, well, he's got the links and everything. So if you want those 21 characteristics of laws, irrefutable laws, characteristics or qualities of a leader, the tax matrix, and that business plan, because that was the only one we could, do. So I mean, when I rehearsed this in my head after 45 years of doing stuff like this, I thought I had a background.
Okay.
I didn't have a background, so I kind of like did the best I could. I hope I didn't confuse anybody, but all of you will have access to that. That's absolutely free. I mean, that's what I do. Like I said, Athena told me I was in the
Now, would you
developing
say
people business.
would you say they're more leadership laws, or are they more of the strategies?
They're laws.
Okay.
They're laws. They're based and rooted in character. When you read this, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to amaze yourself when you read it, because you're going to contrast it with you're going to map it against your friends, your family, and you're going to say, wow, that's that person. That's that person. That person lacks integrity. That's an insecure leader. How many of you ever had an insecure boss? And how'd you know he was an insecure boss? Because he took credit for everything, right? He took credit for every darn thing possible. He was arrogant, right? He took everything he possibly could. And he put his name on everything. He put his stamp of approval on it to make sure everybody knew who the boss was. And if you got in his light and maybe spent too much money, like $250 million on an ad campaign, and he wasn't featured in it, you got fired, right?
That's my old boss at the telemarketing company that you described. He was all those things. He was
That is an insecure leader.
found out that he tried to work me, and I wasn't interested. I was there to do a job, go home, earn my pay, go home. That was him.
So,
He didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know how to do the job.
so that was an insecure leader, and they are the worst people. If you get in line to follow them, that's the worst person to follow. They'll head you into disaster.
Some space right now.
Okay.
Fine. I'm not going anywhere.
We had a young man back here. Did I answer your question, ma'am? So yeah, when you read these, read them and remember what I told you. I said preparation and contemplation without application brings no jubilation. Remember what I told you? I said, what is it? Why is it? How did it come about? How does it apply? Show me which facts support your position. If you take my story on how I put myself in business in less than 30 days and look at those leadership principles and qualities of a leader and some of the things that I've added onto the links for Rodney to send to you guys, if you ask him for them, you're going to say, whoa, I wish I could have seen his presentation if it really, really worked behind him. I'm just telling you.
And one of the important things that we talked about is making sure that you are structured properly. The reason when you want to be structured properly is the amount of taxes that you pay. Because we have tax strategies. We have people who want to pay less taxes.
That's right.
Then there are people who want to pay more taxes, and then everyone in between. So people always ask me, who wants to pay more taxes? I want to pay more taxes. Why do I want to pay more taxes? 'Cause I want $1 million house. Okay, you want $1 million house, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have to pay taxes, because every time you buy real estate, they want to see your tax return. So if you do not make any money in your business, then they're not going to qualify for a mortgage. Or if you want to get any type of asset for your business, then they're going to be looking at tax return. So you want to make sure that you want to change the way in which you think about taxes. You don't want to think of it as a burden. You want to think of it as a gateway for you to become more successful, because that's what taxes will do for you. Become more successful by the more taxes you pay. And it's just another bill. You pay a cell phone bill, right? You get an attitude about it every time you pay your cell phone bill? Yeah, taxes you pay have an attitude, right? Everybody has an attitude. I don't want to pay taxes. But I don't hear anybody, most people don't complain about their cell phone because they know that's a tool that's going to help them out. Okay, go ahead, young man.
Yeah, so my question would be, after you acquired those 7 new vehicles, how quickly were those cars on the road with those like new drivers that you had? Like, did you have those drivers like pre-buying those vehicles or after?
I kind of had them, much like what Burger King did. They put a Burger King, hold the pickles, hold the lettuce, special orders don't upset us, have it your way. And they broiled the burgers, but they put them right across the street from every McDonald's, right? So I can get me a greasy burger, I can get me a flame broil burger. Greasy, flame broil, you had your choice. They did all the marketing. So what I did, I went to one of the competitors, I'm not gonna say their name, but they don't offer brand new cars. They're much, much bigger than me. And you'll see them, and they got a special sign on them, but they're hoopties. They're not 2025s, Mazdas, and Buicks, and the cars I got, okay? They're more like, 2010 hoopties, and if they break down, shame on you for being in the cab, being in the car with them, that kind of thing. So just like in the old days, because when I went to grad school, we were still using widgets, right? I had to grow up in this new technology and know how to do things in nanoseconds, so to speak. But getting back to the point, I did the old-fashioned way, and I just looked at the drivers, and I hired a general manager, a young man that I told you about, and we just recruited them right in their backyard. I said, give me an extra $100, I'll put you in a brand new car, I'll take care of this, that. All the perks, all the bells and whistles. They said yes. And so they pay me $450 a week. $1,800 a car, $12,600 a month. Break even at $7,500. Everything after that is mine. That's what you need to do when you become a business owner, but you have to do the things unsuccessful people hate to do, people. And that's to put that extra on the ordinary to become extraordinary, and don't be paralyzed in fear. Fear, like I told you, is false evidence appearing real, soliciting feelings, emotions, attitudes, and reactions of that of a coward, which none of you are.
Can I ask one question real quick? My question to you is because you said you got like 7 different loans to get the 7 different cars, correct?
Mm-hmm.
My question is, do you know the date that you'll finally make your money back to like pay back all those loans?
I didn't do that. I did not do the break even on that.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the cash flow. How many of you know you get taxed on income, right? You don't get taxed on cash flow. How many of you knew that? Yeah, of course you did, Mr. Vladi. Come on. I'm just saying. I mean, come on. You're the director. You're supposed to know that. But a lot of people think profit pays my bills. No, it does not. It does not pay your bills. It's your cash flow that pays your bills. Because whatever you have in income, I can erase that in my own salary if I want to. I could salary myself $100,000 if I was like that in a W-2 world. And if I had $100,000 left, I'd give it to myself in a dividend. How much money did I make? 0. But I still got the tax liability on whom? Me.
Yes. So.
That's my tax account. You got to talk to him.
All right. So in regards to taxes, we offer tax services as well as entity setup, as well as consulting for individuals. So if anybody is here thinking about setting up a business, we have our number here. They can call us and set up an appointment, and we can structure you correctly to make sure that we maximize your tax strategies that you're looking for.
Are there any other questions out there like, Mark, how do you get a loan? What are they looking for? How many of you know the 5 C's of credit? That's credit 101. Come on, y'all.
Well, I have a question for my friend Chris, whether he is
Could we use the mic, please?
He needs a mic. He needs a mic.
Okay, hi. Halito, as we say in Choctaw, means hello in my Choctaw Native American language. But anyway, my friend Chris Winters is looking for a grant to build houses because he's in the real estate. He's a real estate broker agent, and he's looking for a grant organization where he can apply to get a grant to build new homes. So, do you have any information that I could pass on to him to where I could lead him to that will get him to those grants to where he can apply to?
Is he a not-for-profit?
Yeah.
You sure he's a not-for-profit?
I think. Well, I do know he does.
That look of consternation
I'm not
on your
sure.
face.
I'll have to ask him because I do know he's with Infinity Properties. That's the group he works for, but
LLC behind it? Infinity Properties LLC?
I believe it is.
Then he's for profit. Okay? Usually, folks, if you're going to get a grant, for some reason, folks, I just had this conversation because like I told you, I run a $2 million not-for-profit, and I just jacked up, well, I'm not going to say jacked up a bank, but I'm going to get a sizable donation because I've got the city of Chicago building a building for me for my not-for-profit over on Costner and Roosevelt Road. But with that being said, we're not-for-profit, but you have to have some kind of giving back to the community. Like if he's going to do that, it should probably be something like Chris doing business as affordable housing for the elderly, or for affordable housing for the Choctaw Nation, or affordable housing for, something like that, or assisted living. There are probably grants out there for that, and you can always find a grant if you go to www.grants.gov. There are grants out there, and they'll list grants for you. But and folks, just remember this. Just because you get a grant doesn't mean you don't have to pay the money back. What they're doing nowadays, and they got smart about it, if I apply for a $250,000 grant, it's usually done on a refund basis. You get what I'm saying? Is Mark, you put New Covenant in for $250,000, and once you complete everything, you've crossed your T's and dotted your I's, we'll give you the money back. That's not that easy to do, because what they're forcing you to do is put some skin in the game, whether you like it or not. What a lot of people do, they think they can go into business, and if they screw it up, you skip off free. No. We know who you are.
Some grants that you do have to pay back.
Those grants, they're grants, but what they're doing is they're asking you to fund the project first.
Okay.
And then you're going to get your money back.
Okay.
Okay, that's the whole difference. Mark, we're going to ask you to get this grant. Put up your money. Now, when it's complete, we're going to give you your money back and then some. Okay?
Okay.
Everybody understand that? I think Rodney's getting ready to give us the hook. And with that, Perrin, last words, I'm done.
So, my mic is off.
But he turned it off. Here.
Hello.
Here. Just tell him one last thing.
All right, so one last thing. Make sure that you always take care of yourself first, because self-mastery is the most important thing. The ability to go from hello to yes with yourself in all aspects of your life. You'll be more successful by doing that. Self-mastery, influence mastery, and process mastery. Those are the three masteries that you need to always make sure you optimize. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, our speakers. That was a great duo session. Over 65 years of combined experience up here with knowledge on structure, leadership, and so much more, and AI integration into business, which I believe is the next step. All right, once again, let's just give a huge round of applause to our speakers. Thank you so much.